Brought to you by the Astro Youth House chapter from STEM Arts Lab, Space on Earth is a student-led podcast that inspires listeners who are curious about space to explore the wonders of the universe through the voices of young thinkers, creators, and dreamers.
Each episode blends personal curiosity with scientific discovery, from the mysterious depths of black holes to the practical impacts of space on Earth, like GPS, climate science, and medicine.
Hosted by STEM Arts students from Taos, New Mexico, this podcast draws connections between space, art, and science, how these things all impact us here on Earth, and their meaning to humanity.
You'll hear raw, insightful conversations about topics like light pollution, the overview effect, lunar exploration, and the societal impact of the space race.
Whether you're into exoplanets, dark energy, or just stargazing from your backyard, Space on Earth makes space personal, accessible, and inspiring. We believe that space isn't just for astronauts and scientists, it's for everyone.
Join us on this adventure as we explore the cosmos from Earth, one story at a time.
Special thanks to the Lore Foundation for helping launch this podcast. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Space on Earth podcast. Welcome to the new year. It's been a while since we've seen you guys. My name is Shaylee.
I'm Wyatt.
And I'm HattieRose.
And today we're just going to be doing a welcome back to the podcast episode. We're going to be mentioning some of the upcoming podcast topics. We are going to be talking about some of the upcoming space events and astronomical themes for 2026. And so, Hattie, do you want to go ahead and just talk a little bit about some of our upcoming themes?
Sure. So some upcoming episodes that we're going to be doing is astronautics, space weather, heliophysics, and dark skies. Wyatt, do you want to talk a little bit about what events we have coming up in space?
Yes. All right. 2026 is going to be a very big year for spaceflight. First up, in February, hopefully, we will have Artemis II, our grand return to the moon. It's going to be a crew of 4 astronauts launching on the Space Launch System rocket in the Orion crew capsule to go just around the moon and land safely. It's basically just a demonstration mission for the life support systems of the capsule. There won't be a landing. That is until Artemis III in no earlier than 2028, I believe. Maybe 2027 if we're lucky, but I doubt it. Some other cool things in 2026. We have Starship, the SpaceX Starship Block 3 variant debuting later this year, maybe March, but probably April at this rate. We have, that'd be Starship's 12th test flight. Hopefully we'll get like 10 flights in, but at this point, I really don't know what to expect. I mean, a year isn't that long when you think about it. On the other end, we have Blue Origin, basically Jeff Bezos's space company, flying their New Glenn rocket for their 3rd time. That's in February. That's next month. Just like Artemis II, New Glenn Flight 3 is going to be a huge milestone for Blue Origin because they are reflying their first booster that they recovered back in November on Flight 2. And it's also carrying a communication satellite, I believe. Yeah, just some sort of internet satellite. And also, hopefully, the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope. That's targeting October of 2026. But I'm not sure if it's going to make it. It's something to look forward to, though. What else this year? Rocket Lab might be debuting their Neutron rocket from Virginia this year. Their Stage 1 test article did have a anomaly 2 days ago. It's really luck. I mean, it's all up to if the universe lets us actually make these timelines work. Oh, yes. We also have Griffin Mission 1 launching July 2026. That is a robotic lunar landing by Astrobotic. Griffin lander is a lunar lander contracted by NASA. It'll have multiple scientific payloads and will likely be included on Griffin's exterior. A Viper, the moon rover, was previously planned as a primary payload on the Griffin lander before the Viper project was discontinued, but then I think recontinued again late last year. I think we're gonna at least have one lunar landing this year. The big thing is humans going beyond low Earth orbit for the first time since 1972. That's what I'm most excited about this year. All right, Shaylee, do you want to talk about the upcoming astronomical events this year?
Yeah, of course. So to start off the year, I know that starting in late January, we're going to have post-opposition Jupiter, which pretty much means that Jupiter will remain highly visible following opposition earlier. And so pretty much just a little bit overview is an opposition is when Earth is positioned directly between Jupiter and the Sun. And so we're going to be right in between. There's also going to be a period within January where a comet will reach perihelion. And so perihelion is pretty much just the point in an object's orbit where it's closest to the Sun. Some events that we have in February are that we will be having an annular solar eclipse. And so annular comes from the Latin annulus, meaning ring. And so this is when the moon appears slightly smaller than the Sun. And that just leaves a big bright ring of sunlight visible. And so, although I won't be able to see it, I'm pretty sure that many of you can see it. For those of you that don't know, I'm also Native American, and in many Native American cultures, you can't really look at a solar eclipse, and I won't be able to traditionally. Yeah, looking forward to that. Let's see. Going into March, we have a total lunar eclipse. And so this will be happening on March 3rd. And so the moon will pass fully into Earth's umbra, which is the darkest part of Earth's shadow. And so then the moon will appear to be red due to the atmospheric refraction. And then on March 20th, we have the March equinox. And so this equinox marks the start of the astronomical spring in the northern hemisphere. This is when the day and night are approximately equal in length. Those are just some upcoming astronomical events that we have highlighted here for the beginning of the year. Hattie, do you want to go ahead and talk a bit more about some stuff going on with us as a whole with the podcast?
Yeah, so I do have a quick question for both of you. What do you personally love about space, and what do you think you will bring to the podcast?
That's a really good question. I think I'm pretty excited to have more chances to interview some cool people. I'm hoping before the end of the year, we have the opportunity to interview Jared Isaacman, the newly nominated NASA administrator. He's also an astronaut. He's been to space 2 times with SpaceX. He's also done a spacewalk himself. He was also part of the first private spacewalk, which was in 2024. I woke up at 3 a.m. to watch that. I was freaking out. It was so cool. Yeah, I'm just really excited for interviews. I think that'll be really cool. And just covering other rocket launches here on the podcast. Artemis II, like I mentioned earlier, Starship, Flight 12, just really anything. I don't know. Shaylee, what about you?
I'd say something that I personally love about space is just all stuff that we can see. Like, personally, I really love spatial imaging, looking with telescopes and infrared waves, stuff like that. So just like being able to know about these different astronomical events and when I'd be able to see them, or when other telescopes like the James Webb telescope would be able to see them, just so I can see all of those pictures and stuff. I love how they take photos and then they're being transcribed and translated into something that we can actually see. Because a lot of the time it's just like the infrared waves or other types of magnetic waves that we can't see. So I really like being able to see all the connections there. I also really love just looking at the constellations just looking up at the sky. But personally, about what I bring to a podcast, I don't know. I feel like we all bring our own unique personality to the podcast, and that just makes it so complete. What about you, Hattie? What do you love about space, and what do you think you bring to a podcast?
I think there's so many things that I love about space. I think we've talked a lot about my favorite things about space already on this podcast. But I've recently been really into like dark matter since we don't know that much about it. And I'm hoping that we have a chance to talk a bit more about that this year and possibly have a few guests since we are wanting to have a lot more guests this year as well. I think also just my sense of wonder will bring a lot to the podcast as well. Same with all of the other students that will be participating, which we'll hear more from in later episodes.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Hattie. Something amazing going on with the podcast this year is that we will be bringing on more hosts. So instead of just listening to the same ones that you've been listening to last year, all of you guys here on the podcast will be getting to know some of our new co-hosts. And so they will be joining us, not in this episode, but in the following week. So I hope you're ready to hear from them.
Thank you so much for adding that, Shaylee. I also want to mention that we are now moving to weekly. Since we're going to have new co-hosts, we will be coming out with weekly podcasts instead of bi-weekly, which is really exciting.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to our first episode of 2026. We went over astronautical events that are going to come up in 2026, upcoming rocket launches, which I'm really excited for. We're going back to the moon finally. We talked about our new co-hosts that are going to be joining us. Very exciting. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up this week. Next week, I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about Artemis II. But thank you all for listening. It's going to be a great year here on the Space on Earth podcast. And we will all see you next time. I'm Wyatt.
I'm Shaylee.
And I'm HattieRose.
And thank you. We'll see you next time.